This is video number one of a new project that I'm taking on because you can never have too many projects. You were looking at what I think to be an 80s era Fender precision bass. This is the Squier series made in Mexico. I have had this bass for years. I don't even remember when I got it or where. I probably eBay, but I got it and it didn't play terribly great. I'm sure I paid next to nothing for it, which is why I was like, it was probably one of those what the heck things. And because it didn't play great, it went in a gig bag and it went in the closet. And I have carried it around for years, moving from house to house, and it has sat in there sad and lonely. I saw a video recently of some guys that were talking about inexpensive instruments, like for example, Fender's Squier series and their Mexican basses that are obviously inexpensive. They're great starter instruments and stuff. And how, they're actually, they with a little bit of work and not a whole lot of money, but some loving care, they can actually become pretty cool instruments that are fun to play and can sound good. And I saw this video and I saw how much fun these guys were having, customizing it and, hey, well, let's try this because after all, we're not into this thing for very much money. And I was just inspired. I thought, you know what? I've got that P bass in the closet that's just sitting there, and every bass, every instrument deserves to be played. That's just, I believe that. And this poor bass has been neglected too long. So here's what's going to happen. I have ordered some parts. I have an idea. What I'm going to do with this bass, and I'll just give you an overview. It's going to receive a new high mass bridge because I don't like these barrel saddles. I've never liked these. These are actually collapsing already. This is going to come off. I'm going to put a Fender high mass bridge on here. This pick guard will be changed out to a really cool green perloid pick guard, which I think will look pretty awesome on here. It's very eye-catching, and I like green. And again, why not, right? These pots are very dirty and they sound bad, so they're going to be replaced with new Fender pots. I will solder those in. The pickups seem to be fine. I've plugged this in. These pickups seem to sound pretty good. So I'm going to leave those for now. I may decide later to replace them, but I think they sound just fine. So that's going to be the changes down here. I'm going to move to the other side of the guitar and show you some uniquenesses about this bass that tell a bit of its story. First, I'm going to turn the instrument on its side here and show you this. This bass has obviously had a collision of sorts. This is smashed in pretty good, probably a couple of millimeters compression here. Right here, there is some wood missing here. What I suspect is that this bass, they attempted to do a, Who concert Smash Your Guitars Afterwards thing. It looks like this wasn't dropped. This was impacted on something. And then there's another little ding here. So what I thought is, people pay a lot of money for these road-worn guitars that have the look of a road warrior. This guitar's been to 1,000 bars and it's been played hard, And often they will apply road wear to this area right here. So I'm going to take some very fine grit sandpaper and I'm going to smooth this down to make it look like a road worn area. And hopefully it'll work okay. I think if I just take my time and use a really fine grit, that it should work out okay and be nice and smooth and might actually look sort of cool. So that's going to happen. That's one of the uniquenesses of the bass. I'm going to flip it over now and show you the back. Something else. If you look right here, and there's some glare from the lights. Let me move over here. There we go. You see this heart? There was at some point a decal, I am assuming, on the back of this bass that when I got it, it was already removed. And in fact, I just noticed this by happenstance one day and I looked at it and I thought, what is that? There was obviously a heart-shaped decal on this at one time that has been removed and has left an impression, which also tells you the original color. I think this is that antique white that Fender uses a lot. It has yellowed quite a bit, and I love that. It gives it some age. It tells me that it's aged. It was probably sitting out quite a bit. Um, and so that's going to stay. But I just thought that was kind of a unique little thing about this bass. Maybe I don't. It could have been owned by a girl. I don't know. Not necessarily, but maybe. So that's a uniqueness about it. As we work our way up, I want to show you something on the front of the headstock that I think is probably the coolest thing about this. And it has the classic cigarette burn right there. So obviously somebody put a smoke right there and did the whole Eddie Van Halen thing, and it burned its way down and it discolored right there. So that is awesome, and that's going to stay as well. Okay. So all that to say, get my finger out of the camera there. I'm excited about this project. There's a couple things I haven't decided on yet. I mentioned I'm going to be replacing these pots. These knobs will also be replaced. I have a couple of options here. You can hear the dog playing with his toy. These top hat pots, I'm definitely going to replace these. I have two different styles, and I have both of them already, so I can go either way. Once I see the pick guard, I'm leaning toward the classic Precision Bass knurled chrome. Those nice, heavy, chunky chrome pots for here, or knobs rather, for these pots. I also have a set of these. These are just the Strat top hat pots. I have some that are like the aged yellowed color, which might actually look nice with this, with the green. I'll look at them when I get it all on and decide. That's just a simple, slap those on. But you can even see on this bass, when it was new, they had this plastic that they put on the pick guard, and then you peel it off when you buy it. This right here is actually some of that plastic, and they just yanked it off. They didn't even bother. So this there's still some shipping plastic. So obviously I'll clean that up, and when I install the new pick guard. The neck right now is very bowed, but it's straight. So I will, obviously these strings are going to come off. I will put my favorite Rotosound Swing Bass 66s, which is the only strings I play. Those will go on here. There'll be a truss rod adjustment. The adjustment on these basses is up here, whereas on my Japanese jazz bass, Geddy Lee jazz bass, the truss rod adjustment screw is here. But on this bass, it's backwards. It's up here. So that'll be easy to do. We'll get it adjusted. The fretboard is in pretty good shape. The frets are in good shape. I'll polish them, and I'll kind of nourish this wood here and get it all cleaned up nice. It's an inexpensive instrument, so it's a very thin veneer type fretboard. But you know what? This thing will make music. And like I say, when I plugged it in, and I had to jiggle the pots to get it to come through because they're shot. Once I got the signal, these pickups actually sound pretty good, even with these old, junk strings. I don't know what they are, but they're not terrible strings. It actually sounded pretty good. I think this bass will actually sound pretty good. So I'll get the headstock all, there's some stuff here that's actually looks like a heat. But anyway, I'll get it looking good, and I'm gonna leave all the character again, the classic, cigarette burn, tells me that this was either played in a bar band or was played by someone who was pretending they were in one. But either way, it's a cool story. These tuning machines look to be in good shape. The E string one is actually popping out of the headstock. That should be just an adjustment, but I'm going to take them all out, clean them, lubricate them, make sure that they're good. If they're wonky or anything, I'll just replace them. It's not expensive to do that. And then, of course, the bridge, when it comes in, will go on there. It'll have those nice, big, chunky saddles that I really like, that high-mass bridge that Fender makes. And then I will have what I hope to be a pretty darn cool precision bass that will be fun to play and will be special because it'll be something that I sort of, quote-unquote, built. We'll see. But anyway, I'll keep you posted on how the project goes. The only thing I'm waiting on, the pick guard will be in this week, and the bridge will be here next week. So I'm close to having all the parts I need to get started. And I have all the tools for the setup. I've got the gauges and stuff to measure the neck truss rod adjustment and all that good stuff, and to get the action set, the intonation will be set. We'll get it set up, and we'll get it playing. And I'm excited, but more to come as the project progresses. Bye for now.